Imagine a society where every boy is born with a singular purpose: to become a warrior of unmatched strength, discipline, and fearlessness. A place where childhood is not a time for play, but a crucible of pain, sacrifice, and survival. This is Sparta, the ancient Greek city-state that forged the most formidable fighting force the world had ever seen. How did a small, rugged land in the Peloponnese produce soldiers who struck terror into the hearts of their enemies? What was the cost of creating these elite warriors? Today, we uncover the grueling journey of a Spartan warrior, from a child shaped by hardship to a soldier who stood as the pinnacle of military prowess in ancient Greece. We begin in the 7th century BC, in the heart of Laconia, where Sparta rose as a military powerhouse. Unlike other Greek city-states, Sparta had no grand temples or sprawling markets. Its focus was singular: war. From the moment a Spartan boy was born, his life belonged to the state. At birth, elders inspected him for physical defects. If deemed weak, he was left on Mount Taygetus to perish, a brutal act meant to ensure only the strongest survived. For those who passed, childhood was no gentler. At age 7, boys were taken from their families and thrust into the Agoge, Sparta's relentless training system designed to forge warriors of iron will and unbreakable bodies. The Agoge was not a school in the traditional sense, was a gauntlet. Young Spartans lived in barracks, enduring harsh conditions to toughen their spirits. They were given minimal food, forcing them to steal to survive, yet punished if caught, teaching cunning alongside endurance. Barefoot, clad in a single cloak regardless of season, they faced cold winters and scorching summers. Physical training was relentless. Running, wrestling, and combat drills built strength and agility. Pain was a teacher. Boys were whipped in public rituals, like the infamous Diamostagosis, to prove they could endure suffering without flinching. Failure was not an option. Weakness meant disgrace. By their teens, Spartan boys were molded into disciplined machines. But the Agoge also sharpened their minds. They learned to read, write, and recite poetry, but the focus was on strategy, loyalty, and survival. They were taught to speak sparingly, hence the term laconic, and to value the collective over the individual. At 18, they faced the Krypteia, a secretive rite where select youths were sent into the countryside to spy on or even kill rebellious helots, Sparta's enslaved population. This was not just a test of stealth, but a chilling lesson in control, fear, and loyalty to the state. At 20, a Spartan became a full soldier, joining the Sicilian communal dining groups that reinforced brotherhood and discipline. Now part of the hoplite Phalanx, he trained endlessly to perfect the formation that made Sparta's army legendary. Clad in bronze armor, wielding a spear and the iconic lambda-emblazoned shield, he moved as one with his comrades, a wall of death on the battlefield. The phalanx required absolute trust. Each man's shield protected the soldier to his left, a symbol of Sparta's collective strength. Battles like Thermopylae, where 300 Spartans held off a Persian army of thousands in 480 BC, cemented their reputation as warriors who would rather die than retreat. But this relentless training came at a cost. Spartan society was rigid, with no room for individuality or mercy. Women, while respected for their role in bearing strong sons, had little say in the state's machinery. The helots, brutally oppressed, lived in constant fear, their subjugation a dark foundation of Sparta's military might. Even Spartan warriors, despite their prowess, were bound to a life of duty, with no choice to pursue art, philosophy, or peace. By the 4th century BC, Sparta's inflexible system began to falter. The same discipline that made them invincible also made them resistant to change. And rivals like Thebes eventually exploited their weaknesses, leading to Sparta's decline. Yet the legacy of Sparta's warriors endures. Their discipline, courage, and sacrifice at places like Thermopylae still inspire awe. The Agoge, brutal as it was, created soldiers who were not just fighters but symbols of an ideal unyielding, selfless, and unbreakable. As we walk the ruins of ancient Sparta today, we can almost hear the echoes of marching feet and clashing shields. The Spartans remind us of the extraordinary heights humans can reach through discipline and the heavy price paid for such perfection. Their story is not just one of warriors, but of a society that chose to forge men into weapons, leaving a mark on history that will never fade.